Welcome to another episode of Classic Microcomputers. Today we got in something special, and I want to talk to you a bit about it. So it's this little guy right here. Now normally this is up my ladder a little bit date-wise, but this little guy was something really special I was looking for. It is an IBM PS2 System 25 or an 8525 system, and what I was looking for right now was something that would help me handle the floppies for the TRS-80s that I'm dealing with right now. So, and also act as a terminal, which would be super cool to hook to the Tandy 6000 or Model 2 later on down the road. But I just got this in, and it's supposed to work. So I got a cable. I don't have anything else for it, just a computer, but probably around the workshop here, we got some cool stuff for it. So, what do you say before we even get started? It's had a little time to warm up, because we're here in Michigan. What do you say we give it a plug-in before we dig inside, just to see what happens? Alright, so I went ahead and plugged it in. This will be our first power on camera to see. I did not try this off camera to see what it does. So, now it's supposed to work. Hey, alright. 128K keyboard error, of course, because we have no keyboard, but somewhere around here. Let me see what I got. I have this wonderful old digital keyboard, which I'm hoping is PS2. PS2, I think. Let's see if it works. And there it is. So, looks like she's up and working. Now, this system here is, we're going to do a teardown and clean it, because, take a look at it, because it is dirty. But I definitely want to be hooking external floppy drives to it, and we'll be putting it through the paces in this video. So, let's go ahead and see how this goes. So we got it pretty much cleaned up. And what I want to do is I want to take you through, and I've been doing some work with the Gotek floppy emulator, and also the XTIDE interface, which is a ISA SD card adapter that acts like a hard drive. I don't want to say emulates because it actually uses a BIOS extension and treats it like a hard drive. So let's go through my trials and tribulations of getting this all work. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through and talk about the Gotek. So the Gotek here, I'm going to show you how I hooked it up on the PS2 to get this to work. And then what I'm going to do is on the Classic Microcomputer site, and there will be a link below this video on YouTube, there'll be a link. You can go there, and if you need, you can get the same files for the Gotek. I'll have it set up there. And I'll also have my image file for the XTIDE that you can use. So you'll be able to use my config file to get this going, and I'll show you what I did to get it going. So let's crack a cold one. This is my official, I don't know if you can see, my Commodore lasered beer glass. We used to make these. Alright, let's fire up some beer. Let's get this going, and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the power interface. So what we got here with the Gotek is a standard 3.5-inch floppy sort of interface. It's got the pins, and it's got the, I actually plugged this on here. This was from my own stash. If you're a vintage or any kind of computer guy, I'm sure you have one of these adapters to go over for it. Now, this Gotek in particular, I bought off eBay. And I can share a link to the guy I bought it from. He actually installs a speaker in these, so it makes that clicking sound to make it sound like a floppy. And he takes these and flashes them with what's called flash floppy for you. So what happens is the standard Goteks do not have the proper software on here to run on a vintage computer. But there is some open source stuff out there called Flash Floppy. You can do this yourself if you want. I preferred just to buy one that was already pre-tested, had the speaker involved, and was ready to go. The thing about the Goteks is you have to buy them in bulk. These guys go out there and they buy them in bulk, and then they do this, and then they sell them on eBay for a small markup fee. You know, it's definitely, I think it's worth the trouble to let them do this. Now, they come as a standard 3.5-inch floppy, which might mean a challenge for you for later on. One of the things I recommend, now I went and grabbed this one from my own stash because I've been doing vintage computers before they were vintage. How about that? And I actually had this guy here, which we can plug onto here and make it with the slotted. But what I'm going to show you is it really won't matter the way we're going to do this. Now, you also seen me handle this solder job, which was absolutely horrendous. So I had gotten some solder from Menards, and which was supposed to be electrical solder. I definitely wasn't what I was used to. And I think it had something to do with this lead-free. Well, that's really crap, and it doesn't stick to anything. So what I ended up doing, I did eventually get this thing to solder, and but I'm going to go back and resolder it, and I might change this. So my approach to this was to go find this. I had this old power supply cable that I had in my stuff, and I come over here, and I cut the power supply wires on the PS2, and then I soldered them in, using the camera over here a little bit, and I soldered them in. Now, I don't know if I like this. I think I might have made a mistake doing this. The reason I did this is because the IBM itself, the PS2, let me get the fuzz off this thing. I haven't cleaned the cable yet. I got everything else cleaned now. It plugs into here, okay, and these go to the drives. Okay, the drive itself actually gets power. Let me show you how this works. It actually has an edge on it, an edge connector, okay, and there's no power cable. So it actually gets its power from this cable. It is, believe it or not, it's a standard cable, though, with an extra 6 pins attached to it. I think it's 6. Let me see. Might be 4. Let me see. Let me not lead you astray. No, it's extra 6 pins. So what they do is, at the end of the 6 pins here is power that goes to the drive. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I did. Is I went and got a standard drive cable, and I nibbed it a little bit on the end, right here. I cut it with a pair of snips. You can see that. And I removed the edge. Is it there? Yeah. No, it was this one. Right here. I removed the clip and nibbed it a bit. Now, what this allows me to do is go here and plug this in here. I can plug it right into the motherboard without damaging the other 6 pins on here. So I just gently push it down. And then what I can do is I can run this over here to my Gotek, and I can treat it as a standard drive. So I can go here, and I can say, okay, Mr. Gotek, you would go like this here, and you would hook up onto here like this. I don't remember if it needed the one with the twist or not. Well, let's go with it and give it a try. Then I got this power cord that you see me very poorly solder up. How embarrassing, but whatever. So we can just plug that on here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to fire it up. Let me finish hooking the power cables back up on the motherboard. So, okay, one here, and then we got one over here. Boop, boop. And if you're doing this like me, you can actually, I have not done anything special. I have removed the motherboard, pulled it all out, set it next to the computer. This is a rubberized mat. And the power cables are long enough that you can bring them underneath the computer and stretch them over here. So I'm really doing this out here real time. And I have done no modifications other than to add that power cable for the drive. Now I want to show you my mistake. So I foolishly thought that IBM would make red 5 volts, black ground, and yellow 12 volts. Well, that is not the case. I was right on the red, right on the black, but not on the yellow. So I have spliced my power cable here foolishly and didn't do it. So what I did was I just cut the yellow over here. The Gotek does not need 12 volts. So let's not worry about that. It just needs 5. All right, beer drinking time. So let's do this. Let's get her going. I'm going to plug in the computer. Got my keyboard hooked up. Look at this nice old dirty digital keyboard. I really need to clean this bad boy. Look at that. Digital. Alright. Now I do not have a USB in here. Okay. But let's go ahead and let me show you what's going to happen. Okay, got us a little better positioned. so let's give her a sec. Oh, you know what? I was blowing her out here earlier. I absolutely adore the Paperwhite screen. Now, when I got this computer in, and you guys seen this, if you notice, the motherboard now has a pair of SIMs on it. It turns out in my drawer that I did have a pair of 30-pin IBM SIMs, not from IBM, but from, I think they're Okies. They might not even be Okies. They might be something else. But they actually came from PG Design, which I used to work for. So I had some in the drawer in there, and there we go. Now, if you noticed over here, the Gotek will have a little light on it that just says Flash Floppy on the front. Once you get the Gotek set up, it's really easy to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to power this off. Okay, and I am going to plug in the USB drive like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the computer up. I'm going to choose something on here. Let's try the 25 start. Okay, hold on. I might have chose a bad image here. Yeah, maybe that was a bad one. Oh, hold on. I think this is the diagnostic. So let's give this a try. Okay, let's give her a sec. I don't know if you can hear the beeping, but there it is. That is actually booting off the Gotek drive off USB. So much nicer, especially when you're dealing with one of these. I definitely recommend the Gotek floppy, and because it's just made the whole process so much simpler when dealing with images and everything that you got to do to get one of these systems up and going. Okay, so now knowing that we have the Gotek going, we got a floppy drive going, so we can bring in images, bring in the PS2 images, bring in DOS. I can't wait to show you what we've done, or what I've done. So next was this guy here. The next hurdle was to get this guy working. Now this comes from Tex Electric. This is the XTIDE, and this is a wonderful, wonderful device. It allows you to put in an SD card. Okay. You can click it in there. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the SD card out because I want to show you how I started this. And so what you can do is, it turns out it works in either slot. And the PS2 loves it. Works great with that. So what I want to do is I want to show you our boot up. Now when it comes up here, let me just try to see if I can zoom in a little on this. Alright. What it does is it adds a BIOS extension menu up top here. Okay, that allows you to choose the boot device. In this case, it tries booting from C drive, which this is now a C, like a hard drive, but it can't, so it goes back and boots from the floppy, which makes it incredibly nice. Now, the secret to this whole thing I found, because I seen that Texas Electric had said, let me come back out here and talk about this a little bit. So Texas Electric, these guys, had said that it was wise to start with an SD card that was blank. So I'm going to tell you this too. Start with an SD card that's blank. Now here's part of the secret. You see how that says 1 gig on it? DOS is not going to understand this. At least not these earlier versions of DOS. If you remember way back when, hard drives were 10 meg, 25 meg, whatever. So the secret was for me, when I set this up, is first take this to your computer and blank it out. Okay? Next thing what you're going to do is you're going to plug it on in, and of course it's going to be blank, and it's going to try to boot from it. Don't let it. All you have to do is hit the key when the BIOS menu comes up here. Okay? And you'll choose the boot device as your floppy again. That way you can go ahead, you can get DOS images and go from there. Because once you get your DOS images, this will come up and you'll actually be able to F-disk it, just like we used to back in the old days. Put F-disk on it. You'll put, you'll sys it, to put system files on it, and then you'll install DOS. And once you do that, what you end up with is give her a minute to boot. 640K is a lot for this little devil to work up to. So it'll go ahead and it finds it like a hard drive now. Booting C, here we go. Boom. In this case, I installed IBM DOS version 4. Okay. And once I did that, I actually installed something else that I'm dying to show you. Because this is what this little guy is going to be using for. You might know this program, you might not. This is actually Tandy DeskMate from Radio Shack, which is really a wonderful all-in-one application. It has Word and address book and calendar, and it's got a drawing program. What I wanted it for is because I wanted the terminal program. So, and it actually has a telecom terminal program. In later videos, we're actually going to use this little guy to terminal into the Model 2 and the Model 16s that are sitting over here using Xenex to actually run applications. So, that's it. That was the point. Now, this is all running off this. This hard drive, when you format it, remember when you F-disk, DOS is going to want to try to say the full size of the hard drive. Don't let it. Okay? Take it and format it to a very small little hard drive. I can't give you a tutorial on F-disk tonight, maybe later, but you can. There's lots of resources out there to Google for F-disk. And make sure you partition your hard drive. Very small on here, 10 meg, 20 meg, whatever. Make it small to start with. That way, once you do that, you can install DOS onto it. If you don't do that, if you don't make a small partition, you will have nothing but trouble. Okay? DOS will act very strange. It won't format because you still got to format the partition. After you F-disk it, you got to format it. You got to install system files on it. You got to put DOS on there. So you'll never be able to format it if you don't make the partition small. Learn the system first. Get this all set up. I'm going to leave you an image up on the website that you can actually download and use. It'll be this image right here with Handy Deskmate and DOS 4.0 if you're interested. Go ahead. I'll also leave you my an image of my USB thumb drive, which actually has the setup for the Gotek on it. All right. Last but not least, my last step of action here is to finish getting this assembled. Now, the only thing I'm going to tell you is I had initially thought about getting a Gotek and mounting it in here. You can get a white one or a beige one, and maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm going to put the original floppy. I have the original floppy, which I have not tested yet, but I'm going to put the original floppy back in. And I have the XTIDE interface, okay? And what's nice about this is after you get this set up, okay, you can take it out over to your computer and you can actually copy files on there. It has a standard, which looks like a standard partition to Windows, and I haven't tried it exactly on the Mac yet to see what it'll do. So, but you can take it out. I know you can put files on here because I actually went through and I put some Handy Deskmate files on here to see what it would do. And it's fine. You can make directories and all that over there. Okay, and then you can copy files over tons of stuff on the internet, of course. Put programs on here, bring it back over, pop it in, start your computer up, and you're good to go. So I don't know if I really need to waste time with the Gotek. I have other uses coming up for the Gotek. Model 3s, too. They work great with the Gotek. And that's where I'm going with this. So let's go ahead and let's do the next step, and let's get the system reassembled. Alright, so this is the final little bit here. All cleaned up, put back together, ready to go. I have not tested it since I put it back together. So let's give it a try and see if it works or if I'm tearing it apart again. Cool. So far, so good. Hit the drive. That's interesting. Oh, interesting. It did not boot. In fact, it went to basic, which is interesting. Let's see if we got... Sector not found. I wonder if my boot drive popped out. Let me take a look. It did. That's a good point. You know what? Let me do that real quick. So, with just like the original XTs, the IBM PS2 had it where if you didn't boot from floppy and you didn't boot from hard drive, what it did was it took you straight into, let me show you, since we didn't do that. Let me zoom the camera up here a little bit. So, no boot drive, no floppy drive. It's hitting the floppy, trying it. What it does is it takes you right into basic. So, the earlier IBMs had a built-in basic into ROM. And then I can do 20, go to 10. Always give it the good test, eh? And then we do run. And there you go. Alright, so let's do this. Let me shut it off, put in the compact flash. Okay, going in. Booting, now we boot into DOS. Boom, pathed out deskmate. And there's deskmate. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the PS2 Model 25. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to leave a comment below this video. If you want to ask about the Gotek, the XTIDE interface, or you have any troubles yourself, let me know. Go ahead in the comments and let me know. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and check out our Patreon page and our website. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.